Hey, this is René, welcome back to another video, and today I want to explain the array out of range error in mql5 programming. So you probably encountered this error already. It is a pretty tricky error because it is a runtime error, so you do not see it when you write the code and compile it, for example. You only see it like here if your program is running and this error is happening. And this can pretty much happen anytime if you do not handle it correctly in the program. So it might be that your program is running for 3 days and then out of a sudden you get this like array out of range error. So let me explain this like real quick. So for example, I will try to explain this like really easily. So you probably know already like what a variable is at this point. So you can, for example, create a variable like this. This is like the price variable, and now you can also print this, and this will like just print the value of the price variable if I activate my program here. So you can see I can print this, and this is fine. But what if I want to store not only one price but 10 prices or 2 prices? I could go ahead and create multiple variables for this, which would be like would look like a little bit messy, and I do not really see that these variables are connected to each other. So what makes sense is to create an array for this purpose. And you can do something like this. You can say, for example, if you write it like this, this means that you create an array with 2 values. And an array is pretty much the same as a normal variable, but it's not only one variable, but it's multiple variables of the same type. And they are put into the memory of your PC directly next to each other. So it's what we call a field in programming. So you can not only store one value inside of this array, but you can store multiple values. And you can address the indexes, I don't know. You can address like the values by using numbers in these square brackets. So here I declared the array, and this array has a size or length of 2, which means that I can put a maximum of 2 values inside of this array. This automatically means that there is the index 0 and index 1. So I can say at index 0 I want to put this value, and at index 1 I want to put like some other value. Doesn't really matter. And it's always index 0 and 1 if your array has the size of 2. A size of 2 pretty much. If there would be a size of 1 only, it would only have index 0. If it would be 4, it would have 0, 1, 2, 3. So the counting always starts at 0 and then just increases. So what I can do here is I can now print the price array at index 0 and at index 1. And this will work because I put values into these buffers of the array pretty much. So you can see here both values are printed whenever I activate the onInit function. So this seems to work. But what happens if I try to add another value into this array? And this is where it becomes tricky, because if I do this, and I can also of course print this, I can say price 3 like this. Oh, sorry, 2 like this, because now I put 3 values into my array, and you can see compilation works, there's no problem, everything's fine. But if I have a look at my execution, bam, array out of range. And this is because I put too many values into this array. As I said, an array is pretty much just a this is just a spot or a place in your memory of your PC where multiple variables of the same type are next to each other. For example, if this is like the place, I don't know, these are like bits and bytes and whatever in your memory. And for example, this would be the array that we have right now. So there are 2 there's enough space for 2 double variables. So if I try to add another double variable into this array, this will simply not work because it's not big enough, right? So I would put my value somewhere here, but this space does not belong to the array. So it could be that there is some other value, and I'm not allowed to just overwrite this value, right? Because I only have space for 2 values of this type. So this is why I get this array out of range error. And yeah, I can of course just say that I want this array to be a little bit bigger, like this for example, and compile this, and if I run the program again, this will work. Like this. Now I can print these 3 values. Of course, the same thing happens if I try to address a negative value. Oh, this doesn't even work because I cannot use a negative value as a index here. But so now you know that you cannot address any position or index in your array that is not, if your array is not big enough. And the good thing is you can also rearrange your array. So you can increase the size of your array. For example, if I have an array that has the size or length 2 and I want to increase the size, I can say array resize. So I provide my array and I want to have a new size of 3. And if I compile this, you can see there's a warning already because I cannot use this for static allocated arrays. So if I try to run this, you will see here we will get the array out of range error again. And this is because this function cannot be applied to static arrays. And there are 2 ways in mql5 programming that you can declare or create arrays. You can have static arrays, and we always have a static array if you like declare a new array and already provide the size of this array. So if you do it like this, this means pretty much that it is a static array. I think it is, yeah, if I do it like this, it is not a static array. So if I have an array without a fixed length, this will be a dynamic array and I can change the size of this array. So if I run it now, I will get the error again, I think, but yeah, I will get the error again, but now it is on line 6. And this is because now we get the error already here, because when we declare a dynamic array, we have to change the size. So you can do something like this. Price, it should have 3 values, and if I run the program again now, this will work. Because now I have this dynamic array, and I say, yeah, I will have like 3 values, and yeah, this works like this. Also, I can always just increase the size of this array by 1 if I add a new value. So if I do it like this, it will also work. Yeah, you can see it here. If I run the onInit function, it will also work. Also, I can do something like, what I like to do is, so you can see if a dynamic array is initialized, it will have the array size 0, I think. So if I print the size, array size, price, like this, it should say 0. Yes, it does. So a dynamic array is first of all initialized without any values. So what I can do here is, so what you can do is whenever you want to put a new value inside of your dynamic array, you can do something like array resize for the array, and then you just take array size of this array plus 1, like this. And this would, whoops, wait a second. Oh no, it's not called price, but array. Yeah. So if you do it like this, you can just always run this line or execute this line before you put a new value into your array. And this will work. So no errors, no nothing. So this is how you can work with dynamic arrays. And if you want to remove a value from your array, oh yeah, you can just like resize and maybe price. You can say you want to take one value away from this array. You can do something like this. This would decrease the size, and then of course we will get the error again because we cannot print this value at index 2 because we resized the array again, and now it's not long enough. So this, like to sum things up here, this array out of range, it also it always pops up if you try to put a value into your array at some index that is not there, or if you try to receive a value from your array from an index that is not there. So you can always only work with the indices, I don't know, that are already in your array. So yeah. So just read about this in the documentation. You will find all the array functions there. For example, like initialized, like array resize. You can just read about this here. You can also like remove values from an array, but you can just read about this here. But this array out of range, it is really important that you handle this because otherwise it will throw this error and you will it will just cause your program to crash. Also, like to show you one more thing, you can also initialize arrays like this. So I can say I want to have an array and put 3 values into this array. Okay, cannot be used for, this will automatically make your array static. If you initialize it like this, it will automatically have 3 values. So a dynamic array can only be declared like this, I think. Only like this. Because if you provide a fixed amount of indices, or if you do something like this, where you already put values inside of your array, this will not work. So this is now a static array again. And you cannot use this array resize function for a static array. These are some processes that are working in the background of this programming language or programming framework, and I cannot explain it like in 100% detail why it is set up like this, but there is some reason, probably memory management, so you cannot just change the size for a static array. But I hope that this little video helped you to understand like arrays and how you can work with them, and how you can especially like resize them to get rid of this array out of range error. So it's always a good habit if you work with dynamic arrays to just increase the size before you enter a value. You can just use like this array resize function for this array resize, and then you say you want to resize your array, and then just use like the array size that you had before and increase it by 1. And this is what you can always do before you add any value into your array, and this will prevent this array out of range error from happening. Also, if you remove a value from your array, I think like the easiest way is to say array remove, or can I have delete? Now I have to use remove, and then I can say price, and I want to remove index 1 and 1 value. I think now we should only have 2 values in this array, if I'm not wrong here, like this. And now we should have this value and this value in our array. And this is working. So this is how you can work with arrays and how you can prevent this array out of range error from happening. Hope you understood everything. Hope it wasn't too confusing. I know arrays are a little bit confusing in the beginning if you just started working with mql5 or any programming pretty much. But you can just come back to this video, just play around with arrays, and always remember, like for dynamic arrays, you will always have to resize it before you put values inside of this array, so you know that it is big enough. And for static arrays, they are pretty much fixed from the point on when they are declared, and from this point on you can only like fill in you can just address the indexes that are available after declaration for a static array. So this is pretty much all you have to know about arrays to prevent this array out of range error. So thanks for watching and have a great time and good trades. Bye bye.